ready for this? 'Cause that would make one of us.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello. Hi. What's up? What it do, Soul Fam? Welcome down my little rabbit hole on the internet. This is K&M Witchery. I am Kat Nicoletta Monroe, for those of y'all who may not know. I am a natural-born psychic medium. I've been this way, able to acquire quantum information and put all the little puzzle pieces that I get together in order to predict the most probable outcomes. That being said, I am not omniscient. I do appreciate so many of you wonderful souls, new and old clients, for trusting my insight. There's been a few of y'all whom have said that you literally depend on my predictions as like your world news. Please? No. Use your discernment. My predictions are not facts. I have no intel. I am not a news reporter. My quantum downloads are just that. My source is source. So, to protect myself and also the information that I'm about to divulge for y'all today and evermore in other future predictions, please just trust your own intuition. My hope, as always, is to offer y'all as much insight as you possibly can receive at any given time to make the best decisions for yourself. It's not always going to occur verbatim to how it is that I have put these little puzzle pieces together. Why do I keep saying puzzle pieces? So the person in the back, great question. I only receive minute details, symbolisms, or particles of an entire whole, if you will, and I work to take all of these different symbols and such and put them all together to create a story or a structure of a prediction. Therefore, there might be some minute details that I get wrong, and to be honest, I hope I'm wrong about a lot of things, okay? I dislike this requirement of my mission here, but I am trusting my soul's work. And I'm also trusting the fact that I have been gifted this ability to connect to things outside of our direct consciousness to help and guide. That is always my intention here. I might tremble. I might even get emotional. Last video, I literally popped a vessel in my eye. That didn't happen this time. But what has happened is a lot of emotional releases. Like, I have been bawling, and I'm not talking about basketball, okay? So I just want to get this out, okay? I'm not looking to perfect this messaging, although I am being very careful with my wording. So just please excuse any imperfection here. I'm just doing the best that I can. Excuse me. When I receive, I just like coughed out so much. My throat chakra is like, oh. So, Soul Fam, when I receive these predictions, it is done with the intention to channel through fate as well as free will. I take both into account. There are certain things in life that are fated. Clear example is death. Where the free will portion comes in is we can speed it up by, let's say, making, toxic decisions and habits a part of our day-to-day, which then minimize our longevity, or we do the opposite, right? But death is inevitable, one way or another. So when I have these predictions, I want y'all to know that this video, the time frames are extended until the end of 2027. 2028 and onwards, as of right now, that depends on how we collectively handle what fate is being bestowed upon the collective at this time. Because we are required right now, collectively, to go through a lot of damage and destruction for us to rebuild, to evolve, or repeat. And if there's anything that history has taught us, is to perhaps maybe make different types of decisions. But again, that all depends on our free will and whether or not we're learning the lessons, we're breaking out of habits, we're doing what we can to change karma to break out of cycles. Karma is a repeated lesson that comes back time and time again, and it will consistently repeat until we meet it with changed behavior on a consistent basis, enough for it to then turn into a different type of cycle. A new lesson, if you will. Never ends in this human experience, unfortunately. So, take only from this video what it is that you feel aligned to. If it's nothing, that's okay too. Again, I reiterate, none of this is a fact. I am a psychic medium offering to you today, on March 7th, 2025, at the moment of me recording this, the current trajectory of our collective. That can change at any time. So if there is also something that you really truly dislike, and there will be plenty of that, because believe me, there's a lot of what it is that I am to foretell today that I don't personally agree with, but I'm leaving my opinions at the door because it's not about me. So let's all just do the best that we can. And if there's something that we really dislike, I don't know, maybe let's collectively do something about it. There is a trigger warning on this entire video, so please take that into high consideration and tune in when you are at the most peaceful possible state that you can be in, okay? Because this is not going to just be all love and light. Although I am going to deliver the news as positively as possible. But again, that's just not where the current state of the world is right now, okay? So, all right, without further ado, because that was a lot, many discretions here and advisories, so let's take a deep breath and let's commence. First off, most, if not all countries in the world, as well as their respected people, will separate, will be forced out, migrated, or invited back in. Perhaps maybe some visas will be denied so that most cultures and people of like birthright descent will begin to go back home. That's not going to be the case with everyone, but I mean, as of right now, if you are truly interested in perhaps maybe getting some sort of like a citizenship in a different continent, a different country, right now that you're listening and tuning in is the time to do so, okay? To secure the paperwork required in order to at least create some greater form of stability for yourself. Essentially, what is happening in the world right now, and I am channeling for the world to the best of my capability. There are many places that I have not been able to channel into. There's only so much that I can handle myself, damn. But it's going to be very much what's mine is mine and what's yours is yours type of a deal. What does that mean for Ukraine and Russia? At this moment, I admit it's been very difficult for me to specify the exact outcomes because they're changing every single day. I mean, it could literally take just one person with a hissy fit to press a button and just end it all. Do I predict that occurring? No, but this is where free will really comes into play. Now, what I am predicting, though, is some form of a peace deal actually occurring, not just with Ukraine, but like Europe and Russia, on or before February of 2026. My preference, biasly, is it will be done far sooner, but I don't see any further wars in this section of the world continuing beyond February 2026. Now, I received very interesting downloads about the United States of America and NATO most likely ending their alliance and having China make offers to step in to take the place of US. There's going to be several countries within Europe that will be in disagreement of this. I'm predicting there's going to be a total revamp of NATO to a point where it no longer exists. And it's going to be under a completely new name, a new acronym, on or before 2027, with different countries, different alliances, and so on and so forth, okay? Like, there is a new world order for lack of better terminology here, okay? Everything that is currently happening in this world right now is fated to continue to entice countries to militarize themselves as like a safety precaution, but also to lead to new developments and ways of being to kind of optimize safety and security all over the world. I genuinely believe, and maybe this is just the hopeful person that I am, that there will be no nuclear war and mass destruction in that type of regard, okay? At least, again, for the window that I am capable to look into and see into right now. So this would ultimately mean that it will lead to new developments as far as weapons and means of protection. It also means that there's going to be much tighter border security in every single country than ever before. That also includes Europe. So like in Europe, you could just travel from one country to another, even just by like a train or something, right? But it's going to go through a lot more rigid security requirements of sorts, okay? America will become more and more freestanding. So before I actually go into United States even more, I do want to specify that Greenland will not become a part of the United States. Hence also these new alliances and treaties and changes and whatever political verbiage I'm supposed to be using here. That's what's going to take place, like the new NATO. Again, I don't think it's going to be called NATO anymore, but nonetheless, it's going to help secure more countries and continents from people randomly saying, oh, I like this. I could use you. I'm just going to take you. It's really going to minimize the potential of any sort of annexing and like taking over of sorts. Now, this change will come with a fight. Most of this fight will continue to be through various tariffs, export changes, different types of alliances in different countries and stuff like that, right? And mostly it will happen in like parliaments and like government discussions and things like that, news sources, different types of, interviews and things like that. So I just want y'all to continue to use your discretion and definitely take breaks from news sources and things like that, because it'll just continue to amplify a lot more confusion and thus create more anxiety and things like that, right? Because if there's anything that I've learned in my position, now that this is my job, it's the fear of the unknown is very, very loud in the collective, right? And all you got to do is take control of what it is that you can control, and that's yourself. We're going to touch a little bit more on that much later. Now, the state of Europe as it is today, and this is something that I have probably been asking and channeling into multiple times a day for the past several weeks. There will be zero further hot wars that will exist, but, and this is what I mentioned in the initial world predictions video, there will likely be civil wars in many countries all around the world, or at the very least, there are going to be protests that kind of turn into like revolts that go too far. Russia will actually begin to put more of their attention onto the UK. So I don't know, some big boys in some nice suits got some big words, and there may just be more threats and stuff, action taking place, but no, it is not nuclear. But the people will kind of want to start taking charge for themselves as well, because more and more we're going to wake up collectively as a society to the simple fact that our governments work for us and not the other way around. So do with that information what it is that you will. Australia, my loves. I did not get much insight for you, my darlings, but one thing that is being consistently reiterated spiritually to me is that you are to worry much less about the Chinese ships around your country right now. Y'all in China are good. Okay, like you're not actually of like vital interest to them right now. A lot of their attention is currently on themselves for some deep water research facilities and stuff. The United States, because everyone's got their eyes on the United States right now, and possibly something to do with the Philippines. There might be like a natural disaster or something occurring there, or some sort of like political but I don't see that being anything that we need to be too worried about. United States. Okay, let's talk about y'all. Oh. Consistently, and this was even before the elections were taking place, I have received the insight that Trump will not serve his full term. And there's sure as heck will not be a third term for him. Now, should there, because free will is a thing by any count, be some sort of allowance of a third term, he will not be voted back in. I want to also specify that should Kamala step up, she will also not win. This is where it gets a little bit contradicting here. Not my personal opinion, but I'm gonna just speak on this. Should, for whatever reason, and I am seeing this due to like legal proceedings, so maybe like an impeachment, or like, you know, finally Congress goes enough is enough, or no, I don't know. Again, puzzle pieces, all right? But J.D. Vance will likely take Trump's place. I can't speak on that any further. Now, my beautiful American friends, civil wars will occur within your country. There is an emphasis on April 2025, as well as April 2026. Now, 2025, there are going to be some form of like revolts or like protests gone wrong, or just, you know, I mean, some people will argue it's gone right, but they'll be short-lived, okay? And they will also be highly consequenced, probably because it's expected. And it will begin to start tearing USA apart within itself. You know, like the people will kind of be fighting each other. So like, yikes. Next year, of the moment of me recording this, so to be specific, 2026, you were likely going to expect much more bloodshed and a lot more damage. One or both of these instances will likely result to a really big fire and damage taking place to the White House, as well as one of your monuments. Like, you know, like the tower that, like, I think it's like the Lincoln Monument, right? So it's a little bit of history repeating itself here, but something that is definitely worth noting and looking out for should it occur. Moving along to Canada. Oh, Canada. I am unsure of the exact cause or reason, but our Justin Trudeau will most likely be subject to some sort of like a legal trial before the end of 2026. Don't know what the cause is, but you can expect some sort of like trial to take place. Throwing that out there. As far as the prime minister elections are concerned in 2025, currently, as of me recording this, the Conservative Party is set to win. I am specifically referring to Pierre. Like it? Don't like it? Go vote. Go vote and take charge. What's really cool is, historically speaking, there's likely going to be like the greatest like voter input that our country has kind of ever seen, which I love to predict and foresee, especially with everything that's going on everywhere else in the world. The people are going to be like, wait, hold on, like we really got to take this stuff more and more seriously. So although I am making the decision right now to not channel into, and I only have so much insight myself on the future state of Canada beyond the election final. It depends really on who takes over. So I'm sure that there are going to be more world predictions from myself that I will contribute, but this is up to the majority right now to decide, okay? One thing that I know for sure is Canada will remain Canada. Canada will never be the 51st state. Do with that information what it is that you will. The economy will take a hit until 2017, that I had also mentioned in the last video. So do what it is that you can right now to create the greatest form of foundation for yourself, especially y'all when it comes to like jobs and things like that. I urge you to find more of what it is that you really love to do and become more self-employed and things like that. Because taxes are going to be changing for the betterment, you know, because given what's occurring right now, and this isn't just based on who it is that is currently predicted to win. I'm talking about like even beyond that, very generally speaking right now, okay? So like I'm a Canadian too, so like believe me, I want the best for my people. We're going to become more self-sufficient. We're going to be building new alliances with other countries and things like that. It's going to take some time to rebuild the economy and things like that, right? But again, if we shift more focus on ourselves and our own independence, and I'm not just talking about as a nation, I'm talking about as the individual per household, creating their own abundance in their own way, as opposed to being dependent on, let's say, companies and stuff like that. Like, yeah, it's going to be a slow and difficult build, but it's going to be much better that way, because finances are not actually as horrible as they seem to be right now. And I know that they're not great. I understand that. I'm just saying that there are different ways. So look into yourself and what it is that you want to do to accumulate more money on the side. I don't know. Y'all got to figure that out on yourself, okay? I could have added this to like the natural disasters portion here, but Canada, I'm just going to tell y'all, in particular Alberta, just before the summertime, prepare for hail the size of like baseballs. Probably even bigger. I got small hands, but year after year, they will only continue to get bigger and cause more damage. If you, anywhere, wherever it is that you are in Canada, are susceptible to things like hail, please invest in more solid cover for your vehicles, for your home, and things like that. Like, it will be very much worth your investment. Just saying. Africa. Africa is a very war-ridden continent. While the world right now is riddled in their own economic and otherwise battles, we're not placing too much attention on what's happening in Africa in various places, but there is a special attention that Spirit would like me to discuss, and that is on the Democratic Republic of the Congo crisis that is occurring. I don't know how, but we really need to help Congo, because the tensions there will rise to a full-blown genocide. I'm predicting deaths upwards of hundreds of thousands to 2 million by the end of 2026 if it's not stopped. Who will stop them and how, I don't know. And I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. But if I'm right, may their gods protect their souls. Let's talk about natural disasters, because they will be occurring all over the world. Fires, more fires everywhere. I'm predicting earthquakes on the western side of US and Canada more and more. Various places around the world. In particular, there's going to be like one massive blow in Greece. I'm seeing a devastating tsunami somewhere in Asia. I wish I knew specifically. There have been multiple psychics predicting a volcano erupting. I personally am not seeing that occurring within the next couple of years. There will be a lot more activity and like small eruptions, if you can call it that, like, you know, like plumes of smoke and stuff, but not enough to cause too much destruction or anything. Like, it's not going to be another Pompeii, not anytime soon, okay? Not compared to the destruction that the rest of nature's disasters have in store for us. Lastly, I was shown a city underwater due to a horrible storm. Could be perhaps maybe a very devastating hurricane in or before 2027, where like an entire large portion of the city is wiped out. I believe it could be a rather large portion of Florida, USA. The reason why I'm saying that is I'm seeing a lot of bridges. So unless y'all know of cities that are prone to potentials of hurricanes that have many, many, many bridges, please sound it off in the comments down below, because that's the best equation to this puzzle piece that I've received. When it comes to spirituality, there's going to actually be many people whom were in the forefront at one point or another publicly that are going to start denouncing their spiritual practice more and more and run back or forward to more organized religions, okay? A lot of this is going to be kind of based on the simple fact that it's not all as love and light as maybe desired, because there's so much like deep shadow work and belief work, like mindset work that is required in this, and it just might really scare a lot of people with like based on like the phenomenon that like there's demons and things like that, right? And sometimes our emotions and our shadow work manifests in that type of ideology, right? Like we kind of create entities and things. On the flip side, collectively, our ability to strengthen our unconscious collective awareness and thus make it conscious, we're really going to be feeling energies in quantum ways that like collectively we haven't known before as a human race. And that's what happens when we all evolve, right? But that also means that, you know, we're going to be kind of running to shelter for different beliefs and things like that and kind of lock in. I'm not judging people for doing this, okay? But I want y'all to be really fully aware. I personally do not see myself changing any denominations and things like that. I am very spiritual. I am very open to all types of religious teachings and things like that. I always found that very fascinating, but I am who I am, and I am a psychic medium, and I am here. So, hi. There are going to be a lot more blackouts occurring across the board. This is something that I've been predicting time and time and time again, okay? Whether it be social media, whether it be like literal grid blackouts. I mean, with what's going on right now between Canada and the States at the point of me recording this, there's a clear example right there. I highly suggest, especially because a lot of countries are kind of like segregating back to themselves and their people and things like that and becoming more like self-sufficient and whatever to their best regard, right? It'll likely cause more issues, right? On a very fundamental level, technologically speaking. So while technological advancements are kind of reworking and doing their thing, we can expect more blackouts, more disconnection, more lack of communication and things like that. So I highly recommend y'all get things like radios, like portable radios and things like that, right? Get walkie-talkies for like when phone towers and such types of blackouts occur, so y'all can still remain in contact as a community, right? Within your family especially, because it will be happening more and more frequently around the world. So additionally to preparing for communication errors, stock up on things like food cans and extra water, extra medication, vitamins and things like that, okay? All of that will be in your absolute best interest. It is so much better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Am I trying to create some sort of like end of world apocalypse type of narrative here? No. Just be prepared for it, okay? So if and when it happens, y'all can just kind of kick back and feel more at ease with all of it, right? So like get like those propane tanks and things like that so y'all can have like your barbecues. I don't know, I actually do, this is kind of fun, see more like neighborhoods coming out and like socializing and like being more of a community, right? And as much as there are many disasters going on in the world, I mean, there is a lot of invitation for us to actually get close-knit as a community. So I know a lot of it seems really disastrous right now, and there's like immigration changes and some people don't have it as easy. I understand that. It will get easier when we become more of a community. That is a more positive spin on these kind of things. Okay. Travel and flights in general, regardless of what kind of travel, but like especially flights, they are gonna be more and more limited throughout the years, okay? Likely due to a lot of those like border controls and restrictions and things like that, and anything else that might be coming up right now that people are going to be like, I'm not going to travel. Like, for example, just using present day examples of Canadians canceling their vacations to the US, right? And then maybe going within their country to travel instead. Like there's, kind of changes like that. So it's going to be like more limited, right? So listen, I just want to tell y'all that if you have the personal desire to travel more or to especially move, like if y'all have the inkling to move, do it. Seriously, do as much of that you can on till like 2028. I don't know what happens after 2028, y'all, but if you have this inkling and deep desire to make some shifts and changes, follow that intuition and make the perceived impossible very possible for yourself. But take the very secure precautions and protocols that you are required to do and make to secure your position wherever it is that you are hoping to be. I did unfortunately predict another aircraft just like vanishing, like Malaysia flight 370 had back at, I think it was like 2014, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know where that's going to happen, but it's definitely going to pose a really big question as to what just happened. Because I don't know. That'll probably occur, if not this year of 2025, sometime in 2026. Again, I don't know which airline, I don't know which, I don't know. Also, never intended to scare y'all from traveling, okay? There have been many moves that I have made that were quite big moves at a time where nobody urged or recommended me to do it. That's why I kind of kept it quiet and I did it anyways. And it worked out for my best interest. And I can say that very confidently because that's what my intuition had prompted me to do. And I trust my intuition, even if I quiver. Do with this information what it is that y'all will, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm sensing there. When it comes to any sort of like hackers and things like that, listen, it's really important for y'all to really back up a lot of your information, okay? Download your photos and videos on like Facebook and Instagram and like these types of like really major platforms right now, because I've been getting a sense for the last like few months that for whatever reason in the near future there may likely be some sort of like a breach or an issue. Maybe it's just technology and like their servers or something. I don't know, but like it'll just lock people out of their accounts, perhaps even wipe their content entirely. So if you, like many other people, kind of use these platforms as like a online digital album, secure it for yourself to the best of your capabilities, okay? Get some USB keys, maybe even print them out and go old school with some photo albums yourself. I don't know, but yeah. Also, be very aware of any sort of online activity that you are making at any given time, because more and more there's going to be like attacks, if you will, on places like banks and like financial systems, insurance companies, any sort of like large databases and things like that. I just heard the CRA. Whoop. Where your information, like print out important documents so you have that, okay? Because just in case if anything ever gets wiped out, you have something, you have proof to be like, because there's also going to be a lot of talk on like various forms of financial currencies and things like that, like changing. I don't honestly predict as of right now, maybe that's going to be like a 2030 kind of discussion, but again, I haven't been able to foresee anything beyond 2028 as of right now. Personally, there isn't going to be like a one world currency right now. I think everyone wants to actually segregate first and take it from there. But that doesn't mean that within your respective companies, okay, countries, that the stuff won't happen to actually, take and have greater control over your finances and things there. So do with this information what you will. I don't know, man. I just work here. any sort of precautions are good in my personal opinion. There is going to be this really interesting development around like AI-based like robots and things, okay? I'm going to be biased here and say that I really truly dislike it. On a plus side, and we're positive speaking here, robots and like VR especially will play a much bigger role in the future, but it will also target those whom are grieving death or miscarriages or anything along those lines. Loneliness, right? It's going to kind of target that type of demographic and like basically create new forms of dependencies and things like that, right? Like different types of connections that aren't actually going to be human. We're taking AI a little bit too far. Again, this is my own personal bias when I say that statement, but I have seen that like there's going to be people whom are creating these dolls of those whom, let's say, have passed on, or of like literal children, and that be allowed to do whatever it is that you want to do. I'm going to let y'all fill in the blanks here because I cannot. It's going to be a really controversial topic for the next 2 to 3 years upon development of these things, where people really highly question the motives and the needs of such technology, because again, people just might be taking it too far. There's a lot of sickos in this world, to say the least, okay? So yes, on one hand, it will really help people to move past any sort of like grievances and things like that, and help people, I guess, make amends with those whom had passed on and create families. But look, again, I just urge y'all to create more human connections, okay? Because there are certain things that are inevitable in this world, as I had mentioned already in the very beginning. We have to be okay to let things go, okay? But on the flip side, the more negative side is again, people are messed up in the head. I'm just gonna move on there, okay? There's definitely going to just be a lot of pros and cons, so get ready for that, I guess. For you, Soul Fam, my best advice, live your life to the best of your capability. With the state of the world that we are in right now, the best thing that you can do is live your most authentic way of living. Share your art. Launch that business. Tell the people that you miss them and that you love them. Do things that make you scared. Because while many of us in the collective are called forth to fight, to protest, many are also fated to work on their survival. We all just serve different purposes right now throughout this great world transformation, for lack of better words. But we mustn't also forget that there are a large portion of us whom are here to heal ourselves, to love, to plant trees as opposed to pour water on them in cases of like fires and things, right? Like we all have a different type of purpose is what I am saying here. And the evil and the negatives and the dangers are to be balanced out. Because if they are unable to be balanced out, my friends, 2028 onwards, it's going to be much more difficult to rebuild from there, okay? So yeah, there are going to be a lot of like changes in our communities, and maybe like how it is that we talk to particular people in our lives and stuff like that, because it's like, oh, I'm protesting and I'm doing all of that, but like, oh, Kat's not doing that and she's just frolicking in the forest and stuff, which is likely what I'm going to be doing. But my place is here. My place is to work with people behind the scenes one-on-one or in groups or like something, you know, like I'm to teach things like psychic awareness and stuff like that, you know, because that creates the difference and that encourages people to do more of that stuff. What I'm saying is, just using myself as an example here, respectfully speaking, is every single one of us has a role. Find what that is for yourself. And if you don't know, what a beautiful opportunity it is for you to figure that out. Try new things, explore, do what it is that you can, instead of wallowing in fear, in destruction, and in anxieties and things like that. Because again, you do have a free will. There's many a things that we are unable to control in the world. That is a fact, but you do have control over yourself, at least right now. And if you have the privilege to be watching this video right now, you are one of those people. So please take advantage of that. And know that it's okay if people don't understand. And it's not about being naive or ignorant, because you could be very well aware of the hardship in the world and still work your darnest to be happy. And for what it's worth, I wish for more and more of us to know peace and love and harmony and happiness. So do what it is that you can to optimize that for yourself. And if you want to know how to do that, I am happy to have a conversation with y'all. You can book with me at K&M Witchery or anybody else that you feel aligned to, okay? Because I ain't selfish. We all got jobs here, okay? Go with whom and what aligns to you, but please do the thing. Don't just think about it. Don't make excuses for it. Try it out. Try again. Do something new. Feel your emotions. Stop bottling things up until you combust or give up altogether. Knock on wood. Know that you are never alone, even though sometimes the odds feel against that. We are rebuilding a community and a society in this world, okay? That's it for me. I hope this helped anyone who needed it. Literally feels like this, like the weight of the world is off of my shoulders right now. I shared everything that I know right now. I will probably accumulate more information later. If you have any specific questions, please drop them down below or DM me on my social medias, whatever. I'm really easy to get a hold of if you really wanted to. And again, just trust your own intuition and use your own discernment, okay? And understand that anything can change and, well, we're all in this together. I don't know how else to end this, so I'm just gonna thank you so much. Like, subscribe, do all the YouTube-y things, and peace be with you. Love you, Soul Fam.